Yeah, well, I'm definitely excited. Had a long conversation with Leonard Hamilton last night. Obviously, we know who he is around these parts. Gave me some great wisdom. Unbelievable mentor to me. This game was dedicated to him, obviously. I'm proud of our guys to be able to do something that we've never done in history. That's win at Kentucky. And obviously, being able to go 2-0 to start our SEC schedule. Our guys was resilient. They didn't break during the moments where we could have. We withstood every run that they were able to obviously execute, whether it was big shots, whistle may not have gone our way, but our guys fought, and this guy right here to my left, he put the team on his back and allowed other teammates to step up when he needed a break. So I'm proud of Mark Mitchell and our entire program and staff. Questions?
Dennis, they win fast break points 24/7, but you guys really limited them in the half court. Just what was the game plan there, and what did you guys see that you could be effective with there?
Well, I think ultimately a part of their resilience in terms of Kentucky and Mark is to get the ball out in transition, and they did a good job. They minimized their three-point shooting. I believe at the 10-minute mark in the second half, they had about 10 three attempts. So they lived behind the three-point line late in the game, and our zone, whatever it was, they made a few, but it put them in a stagnant situation. And like you said, transition was the way they got to the paint. Once we withstood the whistle, meaning not picking up fouls that were cheap, I think our guys ended up being able to rebound, keep plays, clog up the middle. Sean Phillips played a tremendous game. I'm absolutely proud of Sean Phillips. He is a tremendous player, and he just helps us out with his vocabulary, being able to talk, point, and he was sort of an anchor down there. But again, Mark Mitchell, I credit Mark and how he led this team.
Yeah, Mark, around that last media timeout there with about 4 minutes, that's kind of where the game seemed to swing for the last time. What did you see from the team? What was kind of being said around the team in and around that timeout there that helped swing the momentum that last time?
Yeah, I think just us not breaking is just an accumulation of everything we've been doing we've been back since winter break. Obviously, what we do on the court is important, but just the amount of time we spent together, the amount of just team building we've been doing, I think that was just an accumulation of everything. We didn't blink. We just stayed stronger, got closer, got more together, and I think it showed in those last couple of minutes.
Dennis, you guys were able to settle into the game really well in the first half. I think you led by as many as 7. You obviously led at halftime despite that long-distance three-pointer. Just what was the biggest key to settling in, quieting the crowd and getting off to a strong start in the first period?
Just focus, playing our best basketball. Our guys were able to play their best basketball. We minimized Kentucky's transition. They didn't make many three-point attempts. I thought we didn't foul as much, but that last play in that first half hurt us. And from that point, they went on like an 8-10-0 run, and we kind of got our feet back up under us at that moment. And how we responded. This game wasn't won tonight. It was won in shoot-around. It was won in practice. And I just blew the whistle every single time when a guy just even put their pinky finger on somebody in practice. Even shoot-around, we disrupted. And the way our guys responded after hearing a whistle was ultimately how we won the game. If you look back at the clips, it was almost like they were cheering once we got a foul called on us, meaning our team. And that's rare, but what's rare is how they responded, how they stayed together, how they were able to execute the game plan, stay focused, remain resilient, and they were active listeners completely throughout the game in every situation. They took over the huddles. I didn't want, and I don't want credit. I don't want any credit for this. Our guys played, they took over the huddle, and they led in a tremendous way. You heard their voices, not my voice. And I give them credit for what they have accomplished, and I'm proud of them.
Question for both of you. Mark, what kind of changes for the team with Jaden Stone back in the lineup? And Coach, what's allowed Jaden to get back in the swing of things so quickly?
It's a huge addition. Obviously, he was playing really well before he broke his hand, and since he's been back, he's been great. I think obviously the shooting, but I think just the toughness. He gets in there. I don't know how many rebounds he had tonight. 6, 7 rebounds. But just the toughness he adds. You know, he provides another layer of him and Trent just being back. Just two really good players that really help us win. And I think just the way he kept preparing. Obviously, he couldn't practice with us, but he was still in the drills. He was still conditioning, things like that. And I think that's what made his return so seamless.
It's easy for a team to complain, but our guys have had their arms open waiting for those guys to return. And by way of that, you saw unselfishness. Guys had to step aside. You look at the minutes, you look at the rotation. They've just been trusting me in terms of who's played and who hasn't. Sebastian Mack didn't play tonight, so that's a DNP. But the last game, Honor Boateng was that person. Trent Burns didn't play tonight. So guys were still actively involved. If we check their Connexon chips and everything else, I guarantee you their heart rate and everything else in terms of miles, in terms of activity, it was very high, regardless of if they did not play. And when you measure those analytics, which I look at, it's telling of the game. Our guys were into the game the entire time. Our staff did a great job. I want to continue to give them applause for preparation, but they did a tremendous job preparing the team, preparing me, being able to be flexible, but also accepting the changes that's taking place.
Dennis, after you spent your last time out there, I think with about 5 minutes left, what did you see over the next minute there?
Well, I spent my last time out at the 5-minute mark, I think. And at that point, it became the players' team. It did not become my team. And what we practice is being able to communicate at a high level. Again, I got our sports psychologist with us, Dr. Joe Carr, who's sitting right there, and he's done a tremendous job with our team building program and everything else, but psychologically and emotionally getting these guys prepared to play, but play for each other. And when you see no timeouts, every huddle, our guys echoed, no timeout, no timeout, every single time. The other part of it is, in that moment, whenever Kentucky called the timeout, they helped us. They helped us get settled. They were able to help us huddle. And at that point, our guys ended up communicating, and we were able to steal some moments in-game execution, and that's what they did in our fire drill. We call it a fire drill when we get under the 2-minute mark, out of bounds plays, things like that. We didn't turn the ball over, and that's the part that won the game for us. Questions for Mark, please?
I actually have one for you too, Coach. But Mark, you guys beat two of the preseason favorites in the SEC in these first two games that you played. Where do you feel like you guys are as a team right now? I mean, do you feel like now you're a contender for this league title?
I think when you start conference play is a new slate, so I think all teams were contenders. I think they're really two really good teams. I think obviously where Ascending is trying to get better. I think we have a long way to go. Obviously, these last two games have been really good, but I'm just glad the growth we've shown and how much room we have to improve.
And Dennis, I wanted to ask you about, it seemed like you were quick with timeouts whenever Rupp Arena was about to bubble and Kentucky was putting a few baskets together. Can you just kind of take me through your philosophy in that moment? Is that like how it is for most road games for you, or was it something specific to UK?
It's just management of the basketball game, that's all. I wasn't afraid to use all my timeouts early in that second half, and ultimately I had to make sure that I kept guys fresh. I knew right before the media timeout I could use one, and I would rather use one then, and then we were able to respond out of that timeout. And then the next dead ball was another media timeout. And then after that, Mark called a couple timeouts, and I thought we were able to regroup in a way and win the game in those moments. When you look at the time of possession or the lead, they had it for 16 minutes. They had it for 17 minutes. We had it for 16. Is that correct? They had it for 17 minutes, the lead? Yeah, they had the lead for 17 minutes. We had it for 16, and the bulk of that came in the first half for us, and then a bulk of that came in the second half for them. That game was a 4-minute game. And when we practice 4-minute wars, 4-minute games, and our guys won a 4-minute game at the very end, and we were able to take the lead and execute. But also, we didn't make mistakes. We didn't have self-inflicted wounds. It's a reflection of our practices, and that's what our guys did, man.
Dennis, you mentioned in your opening statement just kind of some of the wisdom that Coach Hamilton imparted to you over the years. Was there anything that he had kind of imparted to you that came through tonight and helped with this win?
Well, when we think about what Leonard Hamilton did at the University of Kentucky as the first black associate head coach in the SEC during a time where he was charged with a difficult task, how do you diversify Kentucky basketball? He was able to do that at a national level with his big-time recruits, that he put Joe B. Hall, the university, on the map in a certain way. For that alone, he should be in the Hall of Fame. Forget his head coaching career. He should be in the Hall of Fame because at that moment, the tradition that is here, he has a big part in it, and there's no doubt about it. At some point, he should have been the head coach at the University of Kentucky, but he wasn't. That's okay. He started Oklahoma State. He started Miami. He did what he did at Florida State. He resurged and have a blueprint that I am excited to be a part of his tree, to be able to build something from the ground up. Now, at the end of the day, as a head coach, he deserves to be in the Hall of Fame, okay? Now, as a mentor, I can call him at any moment of the night. We can talk about any subject known to man, and it's just like the Florida game. He said, I was looking at the TV. I've watched the game 3 times, and I was like a kid. That's what he said. So I can only imagine, because I talked to him last night while we were in shoot-around last night here, while in Rupp, told him where I was at, and at that point, he's giving me stories. Now, when I call Coach Ham, you got to understand, Coach, that's what he says. Where you sleep. Now, it may be 1 or 2 a.m. His response is always, man, I'm waiting on your call. And that's a mentor. So I'm thankful for what he's done, not only to Kentucky, but the game of basketball, and how he's changed the trajectory of my career to be able to instill in me some leadership skills on his watch. He allowed me to mess up. But he always was a custodian and cleaned up my mess. Now, once I got experience at that point, man, he allowed me to make decisions, and I'm thankful for him.
Mark, you guys dominated the paint 40-28. What did you guys see out there, and was that kind of the game plan to utilize that paint?
That's always part of the game plan. They got some big dudes down there. I think just shout out to Sean. I thought he played great tonight. Had some big buckets late. We just kept fighting, man. Obviously, we just kept attacking, kept going, and obviously it turned out that way.
MIZ.